it was just me sitting down being
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you guys feeling? You guys excited?
I feel amazing.
You guys excited? Awesome. We're going to get started. My name is Debbie,
I'm Brother Elise.
and we are here with today's hot topics. Come on, guys. You got to get hyped. Like, it's about to get spicy. The boys and the ladies are here. It's time for us to really dig deep and talk about all these different topics. But let's first start off with introducing, because we have some new faces, one new face actually. But I'm just going to introduce my ladies. First, we're going to start off with the beautiful Jennifer. Go ahead, introduce yourself, girl. Go ahead, plug. Go ahead.
Hope you guys are ready for tonight. We have a lot in store, a lot of hot topics that we're going to discuss. And, I'm bringing the spice. So what's up?
Yes, we love the little peekaboo, the red, the peekaboo in the hair. I love it.
I'm
She
giving
had
you
to pop
guys podcast jet.
Oh. We had First Lady Jen 2 weeks ago. I like this one. All right. Can you introduce yourself right there in the end?
Hey guys, I'm excited to be here. Like Jennifer said, it's definitely gonna get spicy, so I hope you guys are ready.
Yes.
I'm gonna introduce our brothers since we're segregated now, apparently. But we're gonna start with
No segregation.
our dear brother Monero,
Segregation.
How's it going? Nice to meet you guys. My name is Monero.
and then we have our evangelist Gershom.
Go Knicks.
Okay.
That just sums it about it for Gershom. But feel me? If you missed our past two hot seats for the guys, we tackled the whole George Floyd the case and the verdict of it. We also tackled the famous Kevin Samuels topic, and it was just really spicy. Like it was a lot for me. Like we had a lot of fun talking about it, and I enjoyed myself. I know you enjoyed yourself, Gershom. I mean, but yeah, but we ready for the females, and we know they bring in the spice, and we ready.
Yeah, we were a little bit spicy last week, but it was fun. I'm excited for us to all come together.
Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch last week's?
Did y'all?
Oh yeah.
Did you guys?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, you watched it. I watched it.
Oh, all right. Well,
I watched it.
we can talk about it if you want to, but let's get started with our first topic. So, what y'all feel about school? It's graduation season. We got our young black women, young black men graduating, and in the realm of social media and entrepreneurship and all these different things, is it really necessary at this point? That's my question for y'all. Is it really necessary?
School necessary?
Is school necessary anymore with the rise of like entrepreneurships and different businesses and social media and different avenues of just making money? Because we all Haitian here. We have Caribbean parents, and it's kind of like you go to school, become a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, that type of thing, that type of energy, that feminine energy. We're gonna get there. And it's kind of like, okay, that's what it is. But obviously times has changed, and that's not the ideal to pretty much be a millionaire. So what are y'all thoughts on that topic?
I think the question is not necessarily is school necessary. I believe what needs to be pushed more is after the student graduates high school, there needs to be more of a dig in terms of digging deep. There are various assessments, various tests, things that are out there that you can answer certain questions, and based on your questions, it can let you know what careers may possibly interest you and what careers you can possibly enter. By doing that kind of thing, you're now aware of, okay, if I'm entering this career, if I want to do this, is college now necessary? Because what the mistake has occurred on numerous occasions is people leave high school, they jump into college. Not to say anything wrong with that, but they go into college, and then once they find their passion, they realize there is no degree for this. Yeah. So I just wasted time. I just wasted money. I could have easily gone to a trade school, any kind of 1 year, 2 year program, did this, probably making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year off rip, depending on what it is. So it's not really, and thing is, not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone has that kind of patience, not everyone has that kind of drive. There's certain people, they are good at administration, they are good with numbers, they are good with certain things. So it's not necessarily, is school necessary? Is it necessary in your case? Do you need school? If somebody is a doctor, it'd be great if I did not find out that you learned your trade through YouTube. I will not feel very comfortable with that. I would have loved to know that you actually attended school, you did a residency, and that's how you're able to be a physician. So not necessarily is it necessary, but in your case, is it necessary in your case?
I love that you said that. And we're gonna actually play a clip just to tackle this topic, and I wanna hear everyone else's thoughts after that.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what Evangelist Gershom said. I definitely feel like, of course, there are times when you're gonna need school. Like if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to go into fields that require education, of course. But for even people who want to be entrepreneurs or who are, in the business mindset, like I graduated with a business degree, and praise God, a lot of people open businesses, still make their money, are banked up, and they don't go to school, and they have a business mindset. They just are hustlers. You know what I'm saying? People who are street smart, people who are just money savvy, who understand how to maneuver in that way, could still open a business and, still be lit. Whereas it does depend on if you need it or not. But I think that it also depends on whether you want it or not, because I feel like a lot of people go into career fields just because they know they're going to make money. A lot of us being Haitian, we were told, okay, go be a nurse, but we don't want to do that. And then I know a lot of people who are actually in nursing school who switched over to the social media field or switched over and tried to, set themselves up for success via social media because it makes you quicker money. So I feel like I personally went through a phase where I was just like, I don't need school. Like I could still be rich and still be successful without school, because I just felt like I saw so many other people who were successful who didn't go to school. But I feel like in the state of our country right now, you just don't know where things might end up. And I feel like you need that piece of paper, whether you
It
see it
seems
that
like
way
a
or
nurse
not.
is where it's at right now.
Even an associate's degree, you can't even work at McDonald's without an associate's anymore, which is crazy. But yeah, it used to be like you had to have a high school diploma, but now I'm hearing you have to have an associate's degree, like because they're paying more than minimum wage now. What is minimum wage up to now? Like 10, 15
Yeah.
$15. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Do we need school at this point?
I would say yes, because it's nice to have options, but we definitely need that safety net. Like Gershom said,
Backup plan.
like a backup plan. Exactly. Like Gershom says, sometimes you go through school and not end up doing what you want to do. You wasted time and money. So if you don't know exactly what you're going to do anyway, you might as well use up that time educating yourself, because in school you learn certain skills. You learn how to read and write, and sure, we're at the college level, but there are like classes where people got to do over because they didn't take high school, middle school, and all these other grades seriously. So you need to brush up on your reading, writing, communicating, teamwork, and things of that nature.
But
What
there are people who go to school and still waste time and get out and can't find a job on what they're thinking. So I think in
That's
that
true.
part, that's the scary part of, do we need school?
That is very true, but I think you still have to have that piece of paper. Like you said, you need the piece of paper for McDonald's. I think you need to aggressively apply. Like you filled out 100 applications, time to fill out 900 more.
Not to mention, I do want to piggyback real quick. I remember I took a summer class, music, and my music professor, he had gotten this job that wasn't really related to it wasn't really related to his degree, but the person hiring legit said, yeah, we tend to hire music majors because they tend to learn really fast, fresh out of college. It wasn't a music related job, it was something outside of music. But the hiring manager said, yes, we love hiring music majors because music majors are quick learners. So to your point about having a piece of paper, you never know where that piece of paper might actually land you if you just go for it.
I also, I also agree. I feel like no matter like where you feel like you stand and what you want to do, I feel like that piece of paper is very important. And be it as it may, like the Haitian culture can be very annoying with it, but it's for good reason, because especially like how they grew up. There's a lot of young people growing up where they're most likely getting degrees because their parents, they weren't able to. And I feel like people, they have their dreams like, oh, I don't need college, I'm gonna become, let's use example, TikTokers nowadays. They do make a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie to you, but we see that trends die out really fast. Like there's always a new different type of thing that's going on every week. So your money is not really guaranteed when it comes to stuff like that. Granted, some people do get lucky and it lasts for a long time, but I feel like, especially like, as like a black man or woman, like that piece of paper does mean a lot in today's day and age, because people, it doesn't matter how successful you are. Some people will look at you as like, less than them if you don't have that piece of paper. And the sad thing is about having a piece of paper, like, we said in associates, you need that for McDonald's. And I remember back in the day, in associates, you could get paid a lot of money for that. But now, not even a bachelor's is enough. Like, everybody needs to get a master's. And I'm telling you, sooner or later, a master's might not be enough 20 years from now. And that's the sad thing. And I really feel like the piece of paper does really matter. And at least if that's not your main goal, it should be a backup.
I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here, only.
Come on, bring it.
I love Deandra.
We're
Add-
safe. We're safe, so we don't advocate for the devil around here.
All right.
Okay, yeah, you're definitely right. But I just I think that school is definitely beneficial, but I'm not going to say it's necessarily needed. The only reason why I say that is I know that people in the conversation typically would say, like, you don't need to go to school, you can still make money. But if you come from a privileged background and your parents have put you in a position for you to express and explore your curiosities, as Gershon mentioned, the need to have like testing to see what you like, what you're looking for in your career, your trajectory is totally different than you growing up in a Haitian household where you're just focused on whatever you need to learn in your fundamentals. You've never really had the chance for you to explore and really learn what you're doing. Like, everyone always uses the example of Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, he dropped out of Harvard and he made these companies.
Very specific
The real
case.
caveat is he didn't actually drop out. He was creating this project, particularly for Mark Zuckerberg. His goal was to re-enroll back into school, but because it took off, that's the only reason why he didn't go back. So everyone always puts it in the headline like he dropped out. But also his business partners were people that were from the same background as him. They were able to have that skill and they came from a privileged background. So I think if you have that advantage in your network of people who will pour into you, you're at a much better advantage than someone who doesn't have that and like school is their only backup. So that's something to consider too.
I think if you're not going to go to school, you definitely should have a backup plan that's going to be sufficient. Like, don't tell me you're not going to school and you're just going to be on the block. Like, at that point, there's nothing I'm looking at you as any sort of potential for anybody, because what are you doing? A lot of the big question with like YouTubers and people who are on social media or entrepreneurship is, what are you going to do if all else fails? Like, what are you going to do if YouTube is not the thing anymore? What are you going to do if TikTok is not the thing anymore? And I feel like that's where the backup plan comes. Like, like at least I can say I have my degree in my pocket, and now I can pursue social media and see what I want to do with it. You know what I mean?
But then they're gonna say, you got that paper for $100,000, the student loan problem.
The student loan problem is always going to be prevalent. Like, you're going to have loans, you're going to have debt regardless. Even if I didn't go to school, I might have credit card debt. I might as well take that credit card debt and put it into my education. You feel me? Like, so I feel like the loan situation is like kind of inevitable. And if you really don't want to pay it back, take a class every semester after you graduate.
Go ahead, Manera.
But also that if anyone's listening, use and abuse scholarships. All right. Get good grades while you're in middle school, high school, merit scholarships. You want these schools willing to pay you to attend.
Exactly.
So avoid that.
All right, well,
Good point.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, moving forward, from a video that was from David Lawrence, there's like a few statements that's was said generally about this main topic. And feel me, I don't know if y'all see, but we have these cue cards that we have here, and I'm gonna list a few statements, and we're gonna say whether or not you agree or disagree by putting up the paper, and based on like everybody's reactions, we're gonna have a little discussion about it. So the first statement is, I feared how I would be judged if I didn't go to college. Do y'all disagree with that or agree?
Mind your business. Mind your business. Like,
It says, I feared how I would be judged if I didn't go to college.
I think it depends on who you were raised with, because I have parents who very much support me. If those who don't know, I do hair and makeup.
Go ahead, plug.
You know what I'm saying? Follow me on Instagram and all social media platforms, The Beauty General. But a lot of people who are Haitian are not privy to that and don't have that opportunity in line for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, my parents, sometimes my mom will be like, yeah, like I came downstairs and your dad was praying over your makeup stuff. And I'm like, that's so cute. Like, like that's support. But I think if you're in a household where your parents don't support what you want to do, or you have people who are around you who are always looking to see if you're at the top of your game or when you're going to graduate, like then it could kind of become like a disappointment. I feel like I'm trying to educate myself for myself, and I want to be able to, start my generational wealth and have that lined up for the future, you know, for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody else. And I actually started off in nursing when I first went to college. And I remember I failed anatomy and physiology, and I was just like, yo, this is not for me. Like, I legit am in a whole career field or whatever for my parents. And lo and behold, they were proud of what I do. So it's kind of like you just gotta do it for yourself. I feel like if you got to do it for yourself. That's why I feel like I'm not. I disagree with that statement.
But I feel like sometimes it's like a case by case situation, because like some people, their families, if you decide not to go to school, some of them is like, well, why are you in the house?
That's
It'd be
what I'm
that
saying.
dramatic. So it's like it's like a case by case situation. Because like for me, same thing. I knew I didn't want to be a nurse. I knew I didn't want to be a doctor. I knew that from high school. But like, I think as we're growing up and stuff like that, we think like, for me, I would say, I want to be like my mom. I want to be a respiratory therapist. I don't even know what the hell I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. My apologies. But I don't even know what that is. So it's like, I think sometimes we automatically, we go based off of what society may say or what your parents may say or what you've seen growing up. So it's easy for you to say that's what you want to be when it's just like, okay, that's just what I saw. But like when I came into myself and stuff like that, I knew from like high school, I'm like, okay, I want to own a business. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but like, you just know like, okay, I ain't gonna do nursing. I know I'm gonna be miserable. I didn't want to just do it just to please my parents because I knew I was going to be miserable. So it's
But
definitely a case by case.
I feel like that disappointing your parents thing kind of comes with like they've never seen success in certain fields. They've only seen success in like lawyers and doctors and engineers. So back in their country, they don't see anybody who's maybe a musician that's going to make it too far, unless you're a secular artist or a makeup artist, like, you know what I'm saying? So they haven't seen success in that. Maybe if they see that you're doing something, like they see that I'm bringing in clients, they see that, I'm financially stable to a degree, they see that I'm still, getting a degree in something. So they see a success story being built, as opposed to someone who's just in the house, being a couch potato, not doing anything, talking about I'm not going to school. Like, yeah, you're going to be disappointing a couple people.
Go ahead, Elise, you can do the next one.
See, this next statement, I really like it. It says, I believe college should be free. See, I'm gonna show me personally, I agree. Because me personally, like, I don't care who has this. I feel like college is a scam, honestly. Because it's like,
It's a scam and a business.
because yes, that's the main
But
issue.
at the same
It's a
time, I
business.
feel like there's still people working. How are they going to pay their workers and their professors? It can't be free, guys.
That's why I put both of them.
It can't
Professors
be
don't even make that much.
Education aspect.
Don't let it fool you.
How much they're charging for a
It's
class?
ridiculous.
It's kind of ridiculous, depending on what the class is. Like, if I'm taking a computer math class, I should not be paying. What
And
you're
this is
charging
something
me
that you
for
can
it.
work on. You can learn on YouTube how
Yeah, I
to do
see
some of the
paying.
stuff. That's
However-
oh, that's
like,
what gets me mad.
However, we do have to take into account what goes into the institution of college.
Yeah.
That stuff is not free. It's not, you gotta pay for the professors. They worked hard. They got PhDs. They did all of these things to learn their craft to come and teach you. So that should be considered. I don't believe it should be what it is. The way it's for example, the fact that during the pandemic classes were the same price.
Wild,
I
yeah.
didn't quite
Ridiculous.
understand
You
that.
probably got
Me
like $200
personally,
back
that
from
was
the
little
semester.
that was a little iffy to me, but I believe there should be a way in which it could go both ways to me.
I think it's definitely important that you pay some type of fee or sacrifice because we all know how we treat things that we don't pay for.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
It was
That's
funny when the
good.
Metro cards were
That's
free.
good.
You just preach.
I seen them all over the floor.
Mhm.
But once they started charging $1, For the Metro cards?
Yo, we
Seriously,
saved. We
I've never seen
saved
them on the floor
We
anymore.
saved those retro
I've
cards.
never seen them on the floor anymore.
That's
so I
true.
think that's the thing with
That's
middle
true.
school, high school. Sometimes the students don't take the class seriously. Their
That's
parents aren't paying for it, but you send a kid to private school, teacher complain, that kid getting corrected,
And
disciplined.
that's why a lot of the professors are like, well, you don't want to come to class. That's your business because I still get paid and this is your money. It's so true.
That's true.
But I feel like also
good,
if like, you know, the whole money aspect, it's like we said before, a lot of people going into college, they're confused about what they're doing. And a lot of people waste money changing their majors from time to time. So I feel
They don't
like
know what they want to do.
yeah, so and there's so much pressure because a lot of money is on the line. And also like a lot of people take out student loans and they could, you know, finish what they have to do, but evidently the money that they're making is being paid off for a loan that's gonna last for probably when they have kids. So it's like if it can't be free, the price really needs to change because it's
Would
it's
you
a
guys
lot.
force your kids to go to college or make
Yes.
the decision to take a year or two
Ooh,
off
yes.
first
Firm,
and then
man.
go?
You could take the year or two off. It has to be a productive year or two.
Yeah.
For example, in the most funniest way, the guy who invented GoPro, he finished high school. He went exploring throughout the world or whatever, surfing or other stuff. Then he said, you know what? I actually want to record when I'm surfing and things of that sort. So then he went back to his family. This goes back to what you said earlier about if your family has money. So now you're talking about 1 to 2, 10% of the whole nation of people with to the point where you can afford your kid to not go to college.
Yeah.
Because the people that's go to college to make money so you know we can take care of ourselves. We have rich millionaire parents, they're gonna leave you some money anyway. So that's not really the concern. So he came back home, he said, okay, I have this idea for this invention. His family, friends fronted him the money to invent GoPro. That's how GoPro was invented. So I do agree with after high school, give them time to explore. If you're gonna do that, it has to be a productive exploration, not just you at home just
Making a
simply
mixtape.
doing nothing. Hey, why not?
At the mall,
Mixtape,
talking about, yo, listen
you
to my
never know, man.
mixtape.
The rap career could take off.
But unfortunately, that's like a special case. There's very few people that are super privileged. Unfortunately, the masses.
No, exactly. But that's my point. So what she was saying is a 2%, 3% thing. So not many people are gonna want to explore the idea of taking time off. So you know, because our parents they work hard, put us through school. At some point, they're gonna want to break. So when we go to college, get a good career, it's somewhat for them. They see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. Okay, so you're a nurse. You're making closer $78,000 a year. Eventually, either you get married or you don't get married. If you want to move out or whatever, once that's done, okay, now I can start considering retirement. I don't need to work as hard and all these things. That's the reason for it.
I think the parents, they just want their kids to be safe. Like you said, make
Yeah,
sure you have a
definitely,
certain career. But if you could prove early on that you're gonna be good with or without your parents, like that 8-year-old
Yeah.
making 8 million on YouTube,
Right, right.
you think his parents forcing him to go to college? Good.
Yeah, I was gonna also add too. I feel like I would let my children. You would have to apply after high school, and I'll let you defer your admission. But there's just like something with after you finish, and then you're like, oh, now I have to do this.
Yeah.
People start prolonging it, and then it gets 2 years, 3 years. Apply, get in, know that your bag is secured, and then I'll let you take the year off. But you're not skipping that.
So you do
part.
believe in the gap year?
Yeah, I believe in the gap year, but you have to have applied and get in, and then defer your admission.
Yikes. Okay, Magdala had a comment. She put, I think that college is too expensive. What are your opinions on taking out loans? They've been talking about college forgiveness since
Loan
forever.
forgiveness.
Yeah, and there is a rule for it. If you work for, I think, the city, and then after 10,
There's a lot
after
of
10
white
years,
privilege in the city. I feel
oh, if you work for a nonprofit,
Yeah.
After
I
10
worked in
after
the
10
city. Does that
years-
count? Because
after 10 years working for a nonprofit, then you can, I guess, apply for the loan for this program. That, and I guess that's one main reason why people voted for Biden in the first place, because he was talking about the whole
Not Biden.
not Biden, Sanders. I think it was
Yeah.
Sanders.
But again, I know there's not enough scholarships for the whole world. But
There is
if you learn about student loans early enough, make sure you learn a skill, whether it's a sport or something like that, or aggressively apply for scholarship.
I just like my thing. My thing is just like I feel like if you need to take the loan, like honestly, you got to do what you got to do. But like it's really tricky because it's like
Listen, if you do Forex, you get rid of that loan. What's the matter
Oh,
of
please,
God.
I don't buy it flex, please. That's-
matter of 2 years.
No, I mean Forex really works. No, let me stop.
Someone,
The
It's
bottom,
like-
the bottom is too crowded, bro.
Dominique,
just-
His own.
Dominique
It's not-
Germain also said knowing what you want to do and not like doing things. Okay, let me read the actual. I don't want to paraphrase your thing. She said, also, I feel like people need to be honest with themselves on things that they're good at and not just the things that they want to be good at.
Oh, that's
So
a word.
people
right
who are
there.
going to school because they feel like, nah, I could be a great doctor, like, but you ain't got no bedside manner. You're rude. You're late. You got jittery hands.
You
like
have great,
it's just
you have
like, wait,
great penmanship. Doesn't
yeah,
make
you
sense.
scared of blood. Like I can't. Like be good at what you know that you're good at. You
See,
know.
that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people I feel like what you really need is research because somebody could be really good at the arts, but most people will tell you, oh, you're gonna be a starving artist. You're not gonna make that much money, and it's really that's what happened to me. I want to be because I drew a lot when I was young. I'm like, you know what, mommy, I'm gonna be an artist. At least you're not gonna make no money straight like that. They don't hold back. And then for a while, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna become a lawyer because they make mad bread.
Right.
But that's the thing. You wanna go for a career that makes mad bread. But a lot of people they grow old and they're miserable. And
Yeah.
a lot of people they don't have the energy to go back to school. Granted, some people do take that step, but if that was me, I just suck it up and just continue doing my thing because it's a lot of effort to go back to that. So I feel like if you like say you want to do art, right? There's a lot of different things you could do besides just being like a regular artist. Like that's why I feel like research is very important to your skills because you can make a lot of money doing basically everything. It's just a matter of how you really research your thing and how bad you really want it. Because if you have a burning passion, you're gonna find a way to make a lot of money.
I want to. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just going to bring up a comment. Jamie said, she said, it's an opportunity to invest in yourself. It's one of the few moments you'll have to solely invest in yourself. I agree because
true.
your college years, depending on the type of university that you attend, the friends that you meet sometimes could be lifelong friends and people that you meet, your network, business partners, people that can refer you to positions. And oftentimes you do see that is the time where you really make it through the mud and figure out who you are. I haven't necessarily seen someone who has gone through a gap year, not a gap year, but like haven't attended university and still was able to kind of say that they were able to figure out themselves more than just life experiences. But everything has its pros and its cons. So
And to build on that, college really exposes you. Speaking about the masses again, there's people that never really left their neighborhood,
True.
block, zip code.
That's
but once
true.
they hit college, you get in cultural events to museums. You have the opportunity to study abroad. That's where you discover
College parties.
your potential. I don't know about that. But yeah, that's where you could discover your potential passion, and that's when you could decide on your career route using those general electives. I mean, those requirements to explore different interests.
It's funny that you say that, when you go to college and stuff like that, you pretty much are exposed to different things and whatever. So being a Christian in college, it's kind of a different, it exposes you to a lot. And during, I think 2 years ago, or even as of recently, the whole, we're serving the white man's religion, that whole narrative and stuff like that. And there's a lot of controversy when it comes to that whole type of topic and whatever. So how is it as I guess as Christians, can we separate what the culture or what society and what all those different narratives say as opposed to you being a Christian? How do you separate those two? Or is there really a difference? Christianity versus culture. Where's the line drawn for y'all? Or y'all, because we all went to school. You graduated and stuff like that. So it's kind of what do y'all takes on that?
So wait. So Christianity versus culture.
versus culture.
Yeah, Christianity versus culture.
In the college setting.
You know what? I'm gonna just play this clip so y'all could understand my question. So we're just gonna play the clip.
The challenges that we have as believers living in the world as it is today.
I think the challenges go back to our Judaism.
The challenges that we have as believers living in the world as it is today.
I think the challenges go back to our Judeo-Christian heritage because once Israel was established as a nation and a dynasty, they didn't have to think about issues of assimilation or separation because they were a cultural entity, a nation established by God. But once they went into captivity, especially the kingdoms of Judah going into captivity in Babylon, everything changed. And they were now in a different context, and they had to consider how do they relate to the culture, especially with the command of God, Jeremiah 29, which says, settle down, build houses, plant gardens, marry your children, and pray for the peace and prosperity of the city wherein you have been taken into exile. And I love this portion, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. So God declared a relationship between his people in a foreign land, in a foreign culture. So in response to that, they had to decide one of two pathways. Do we separation or assimilation? And separation to protect themselves, insulate themselves from the influence on their faith of the existing culture. Problem with that is, in practice, separation became and becomes isolation, which leads to irrelevance and eventually persecution. So that.
So what was y'all thoughts on that?
My big takeaway was separate or assimilate.
Separate or assimilate?
Have you personally encountered?
Yeah,
that?
talk about those John Jay days.
So that's what we're just gonna throw out. Well, we're like that.
Yikes.
But of course, we all heard of how to assimilate. That's one of the skills you learn in college, to like adapt to your environment, because you coming in with your perspective doesn't really run the world. You have to be exposed to other people's idea to see how maybe the majority thinks, how other people think, so that you could consider all options. But basically, if you were raised in the faith, you already know what you identify with. You already know what you stand on, and you have to hold on to that. You can't just be easily swayed in the classroom that's talking about does God exist and things of that nature.
No, I think it's funny that you say that because low key, I feel like some people aren't that strong in their faith to even be able to not stand their ground, especially on their faith. Like there's a lot, or differentiate between like the Bible and what people's interpretation of that is. Cause it's just like, there's people that I've seen growing up, go to college, that they did not come back the same. Half of them are completely different. So it's like
College will show you how much you're not in the majority.
yikes.
It will show you that. I remember I took this one class, I think my sophomore year, and the professor was really hung on the fact that, so basically the Bible said that God made a mistake with the flood. God admitted that he made a mistake with the flood. There was that narrative and other biblical narratives that went highly against our beliefs. And like Monero stated, at the end of the day, it's your beliefs. You have the power. It is up to you to hold on to what you believe. Also up to you to forfeit. Just because they hold the rank of a professor thing, and does not, at the end of the day, that professor can't save your life. The professor can't save your soul. It's just their job. My thing is, go there, get your grade, and leave. That's
And
what it should be.
also,
Get your grades and leave.
you said they changed because were they prepared to be in that environment in the first place?
That's a good.
Going back to Sunday school, we learned that song, read your Bible, pray every day. But how many of us was really practicing it? Honestly, if we
Nobody was
actually read our
consistent.
Bible and prayed every day, we might have been prepared to. So when some atheists might come and raise the volume on you, God isn't real. You might have referenced a verse, but most of us are really just depending on sermons. And do we honestly remember a sermon a week later?
And see what like stuff like that, just like you said, like nobody was really consistent with it. And I feel like, most people going into college, if an atheist was really come at them with crazy facts, because they be studying the Bible crazy. A lot of people in our day and age, they will get caught lacking. And it's like really sad. And I feel like we said earlier, like it has a lot to do with like interpretation, how people see it, because the older folks, there's a lot of set cultural things that they take from the Bible, but that's because that's how it was back in that time. And obviously times have changed, but that's the thing. Like when you grow so old of a certain thing, it's like it won't go away. But it's the job of the younger people to make a new interpretation of that for them, because it's like Pastor always says, like your walk with God is personal, so it's not going to be the same for you as another person, and it's not going to be the same for the youth as it is for the older folks.
Speaking of personal, I know this is completely off, but how would y'all feel if your friend dated or went out with your ex?
Miss Spice Love.
Wait, but
Sorry
what
to
did
turn
that,
the table.
where was-
Sorry to
what
turn the
that-
table,
where
but
did
it was.
that come from?
She
That
said
has nothing
personal.
to do with
He
assimilation and
said.
culture.
He said personal. I heard personal.
School of life.
Want to jump right in there?
Wow.
I just wanted to jump right in there. We just
Listen,
need to get a
listen,
little
listen.
spicy. How would you know what? Let's actually play a clip.
We jump-
Let's just play
we
the clip
jump
because
from-
Dating your friend's ex, or
Sorry, a little bit of confusion, but for me, before we continue, with this conversation, I'd like to get into the announcements. Going forward for Friday night, our schedule will be tweaked a little bit. So for the future, be on the lookout for a lot of more content from us, and just stay tuned. And like we always say, every year is our in June is our youth anniversary. Make some noise for our youth anniversary.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be an amazing time here. We're gonna be at the church from June 9th to June 11th, and be sure to be there because it'll be a really amazing time. It'll be very uplifting for you. So we can't wait to see you there. But as we continue, let's get down to business.
so
What-
Debbie posted a good question there,
yes.
and I want to hear what you guys think because
Wait, I have a question. Can we
that
define?
depends on where you fall on the spectrum.
See,
Wait, what
That depends on where you
mean?
fall on the spectrum. Hold on. It depends on where you fall on the
What that
spectrum.
mean?
What that mean? I don't want to bring it back up again, but if there are people who fall on the Kevin Samuel spectrum, there are those who fall on the other side.
I thought.
On the other side, hold on, wait.
I thought y'all liked Kevin Samuels from y'all conversation 2 weeks ago.
Did we say we liked them?
We never
Ah.
said we
We're
liked
not-
them.
we're not going to speak his name.
We did not say that.
We
Hold on.
never.
We're not going to do that.
No. Let me explain.
All
Let
right.
me explain what I mean by that.
Let me
There
put my
are
feminine energy.
there are
Sorry,
those
my
who
bad.
believe in that decision in terms of who you get with, who you marry, being a natural selection. Then there are those who believe that as a decision that is a God ordained decision.
Oh.
So now, if you feel it is a natural decision in which you select who you are with,
Is that what he said?
yes, he doesn't believe that the spouse. He doesn't believe that that's a divine thing. He said that's natural. You pick who you want. God doesn't pick your spouse. That's his belief. Now, if you do believe that God picks your spouse, and now God says this is your spouse, and your spouse happens to be the ex of your friend, which means your friend was in disobedience dating them in the first place. So you're saying that you're not going to do it?
Listen,
Yeah.
I personally always said that I could never or even look at my friend's ex or my friend's past talking mate or whatever. And I feel like I know a lot of other people who have also said that and end up in that situation. But I feel like I pray so hard that God does not ever let me be in that situation, because I just don't know how I could ever not see your relationship in mine, or not like compare the two, or not feel a way about it, or feel a way that you feel a way about it. Like I just can't see it happening for me.
Even if the friend moves on, married and everything else, it's still a
Yeah,
no for you.
because
that's
you
still
always
mixed.
you always remember like that they were together. Like, it's just weird. And especially if I call you a friend, it'd be different if we were kind of just in the same space a lot. Or if I knew of you, you knew of me, you knew we were together, but we never hung out, we never had conversations. That's a different scenario to me. I feel like it's just too close. Too
close for comfort.
I think it makes a
Copy.
great testimony.
What?
Wow. Yeah, go ahead.
How
Deidre.
so?
Say it. Go ahead. Say
How
it.
so?
Testify then. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think that in a perfect world, we may want to be in the position where we're like, for close for comfort. But what Gershom says is, if you are in a situation where someone was disobedient, that could be possible where God redeems the person, they come to a more mature place in their life. If both parties are mature and you have moved on and you work through it, then I think that then God does allow space for you to be able to be with that person and you have the grace to move with the relationship. But if you are both petty and you're holding hurt and you don't have honest conversations, it's obviously not gonna
That's
work.
the thing. If you're like hiding and being secretive and being funny about the whole thing,
Yeah.
that's what makes it bad. Thing is, and the thing is, that is with that question, Dominique, that is a matter of spiritual maturity. Are you at a spiritual mature place in which you both recognize, listen, I recognize that was your ex, I recognize that, but do you recognize that that wasn't God's plans for you? And once you recognize that, when somebody gets to a place where, you know what, that wasn't God's plans for me, you actually heal very well. To the point where they could get with your brother. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. And it wouldn't bother you because you recognize, okay, that wasn't God's plan for me. So now, if you, on the other hand, you have that maturity, then it helps you move forward, and the person would actually be genuinely happy for you. So Dominique actually asked a good. I'm gonna get you a question. A good question. The real question is: does loyalty to a friend from obedience to God or to His plan?
And that's what I was gonna touch on. Like, if you get a clear sign from God, what relationship do you think matters more to me? The friendship or God?
But I think sometimes when it comes to that, it gets messy before you even get the confirmation. So like I feel like it could be situations where it ended bad, it ended very messy, and then you probably had speculations that there was probably something going on to begin with, and then they end up getting together years later. So like sometimes there's situations like that, and sometimes it is God ordained, and it's like, okay, I could be mad and salty for a little bit, but I can't be salty forever. So I think it's like
But I think Deandra touched on that a little bit. It could get messy in the beginning during the relationship, but eventually growth happens, redemption happens, and things of that nature. So they might be a new person.
You hope that growth happens, but not every time is it going to be the situation where both parties are in agreement. And you might be just saving face to be like
exactly,
and like, hey, I'm happy for you, but deep down inside, you're not. First of all, you're not invited to the wedding. That's number one. Second of all, you feel a type of way because this is somebody who you were very open with in front of everybody, and now I'm with him. Like, it just looks like I don't know.
The thing is, and some people see, all right, I want to let's take away the, like that's God ordained. Let's just say these are people like say, two people naturally just feel this connection, but the guy, coincidentally, his bro, that was the girl's ex. My thing is honestly, you could really do whatever you want, but you just have to be careful of certain circumstances. Cause it's like at the end of the day, unless he really, physically, forces you to not do it, nobody's really gonna stop you. It's just, and like you said, it's safe to go to him and be like, yo, bro, this is going on. I'm feeling sure this was as respect. Cause I feel like that needs to be initiated first before you even go through with that. And like you said, people, they will save face, but that's on them. Not to be mean, but I don't care about your feelings because you lied to me. You gave me the green light. You gave me the A-OK. So I'm going to continue doing my thing. Regardless if you said yes or no, I'm going to still get it. I just came to you for respect. For me.
Do you feel like there should be a time frame where you're like, okay, they've been separated enough?
Oh, of course.
Let me kind of slink my way in there.
See, if you try to pursue it a week after this, I don't know what's going through your head. There's gonna be problems. If they tell you I'm okay with it, they're lying.
What if they weren't in a relationship? What if they were just talking? Because y'all know this talking phase is a thing now.
That's the thing. I feel
what if they were just talking?
If it's talking, in my personal opinion, I feel like it's not that serious. Feel me? Like I feel like the person, it's
Wait,
valid.
what do you define as talking?
Talking is a pending relationship.
Ending
That's
relationship.
what you
Sorry?
I think that's too aggressive.
That's what you guys call it.
That's in my opinion. That because
A
talking is
pending
like this. It's like
relationship.
it's exclusivity between two people,
said like low
but
Not all the time.
It's not.
Not all the time.
But I feel like most of the time now, this day and age, this is the thing. There's talking, and then there's the relationship.
There's no courting.
In this day and age, people don't really court like that.
Is that where we're going? Do we want to
Wait,
go
where
there?
does it fit in? Like, is it
Because
talking, courting,
okay, guys,
marriage?
let's
What do we?
Talking is
Let's be
definitely
honest.
important.
Category in
let's be honest. The fact of the matter is, the talking stage was supposed to be a stage of importance. Because the talking stage is supposed to be the stage where you're learning the person to see, okay, is this somebody whom I actually want to pursue, to move forward with in courting?
Right.
The problem is, like other things, we perverted the talking stage.
Yeah.
People are tipping and dipping the talking stage. They're active
Wait, you said
sexually.
tipping?
Yep, I said tipping and dipping. Yeah, they're sexually active in the talking stage. There's so many things going on in the talking stage, and then my talking stage is there's never any real clarity. We're just talking. Okay, we're talking. Are we exclusive to just one another? That's actually never clear. When I talk to other individuals, how long does this last? Do you actually see a future? There's never any clarity. The talking stage is one of the biggest leaps.
Talking and dating is the same thing to some people too. Because I could be dating other people as opposed
See,
to
that's
I
what
always
that's
thought
the
that.
thing.
I feel
All
like
this,
people
all
do that
this,
too. They take it that
all
way
this,
too.
Jonathan McReynolds gray area is the reason why there's all this uncertainty, because the way it should work. Now, if we're talking, then all right, you may not actually be talking to just that one person. Be talking to this individual, maybe somebody else probably interested to see, okay, what direction can I gauge? Of course, that must be done properly. The thing is, that isn't done properly.
But what is properly? Where did we learn
Properly-
properly from?
Not in the shadow.
When I say
I like
properly,
that, Manera. I like that.
when I say properly, I'm saying when physical stuff gets involved,
Yeah.
it distorts everything.
That's true.
'Cause
Once you start getting physical, everything gets distorted, gets perverted. So now, in certain cases, he got whatever he got, and now she's thinking, okay, we're probably gonna move forward in a relationship. And then what ends up happening 7, 8 times out of 10, nothing ever materializes, and people just go
people
on
be physical
their
on
separate
talking
ways.
stages?
Yeah.
Jennifer.
No, they
They-
don't.
Nah.
Don't be
That's
so
cool.
naive.
No, it's not even being naive, but in my eyes, if we're talking, this is like, I see you, you see me, I'm physically attracted to you. I'm
That's
mentally
your
attracted
eyes.
to you,
That's
and-
how
Is
and now
that
if
made
we
is
get
that
into
made
a
clear?
dating,
Is that made clear from jump?
It's of course there's communication that
People
needs to be
don't
in the
ever
mix.
they don't ever
Yeah.
make that clear. That's the thing. There are many situations in which that was not made clear. It was not made clear that, okay, first of all, let me clear that we're even talking.
They're
That
not
was
talking.
even- that was even-
if you're physical, you're not.
that was
talking.
even
At
made
that point,
clear.
You are in an exclusive physical relationship. Stop saying that you're talking to this person.
Okay,
But I feel
see
like
your
not
point.
everyone sees it
But
as
they will
talking.
stay saying like that because once again, it was not made clear that we're talking. Then it was not made clear that we're exclusive.
Do you think the talking stage is appropriate for a church environment?
Yes,
Yes,
it
if
is.
it's done the right
It is.
way.
If we're taking away the
It is.
physical aspect,
Can I
It is
touch
important.
on that? Can
It
I
is
touch on that? Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
The Christian youth, right? Like I remember growing up, and I felt like it was really taboo to even like when you were like in your teens to even have a boyfriend, because it was like, what are you doing with a boyfriend? Because we were taught when we were younger, if you're in a relationship, your relationship should be to marriage.
Mhm.
And I remember being confused when I was younger because I'm like, well, not the first person I'm going to meet, I'm going to marry.
You
I
never
need
know.
to at
It
least
can
learn how to
happen.
speak to people. Now, here's my thing. I think that there should be healthy communication between
Right.
men and female, and it doesn't have to be anything physical. In the church, at times, there are some people who are immature with speaking with the opposite sex. Elise could just look at me and say hi. I'm like, wow, I think this is
Yeah,
it.
that's the
He
one.
wants
Yeah,
the one.
You see
But
angels.
it's
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't even know how to even speak to men, that I don't even know how to like form a platonic relationship.
Talking good, Doc.
Talking really should be just talk.
talking
Hi,
good,
Elise.
Doc.
Hey, Monero.
But
You
this
talking
is the
good,
thing.
Doc.
Like Gresham said, there's no debt. depth to the relationship. So you're just talking. So you don't know what each person's intentions are.
But that's the thing, it's base level. Like, I'm just getting to literally know who you are as a person. And another thing too, with this generation, what I don't like, for example, if a man is coming up to you and he wants to talk or whatever, you're coming already with the intention, I'm coming because I want you. It's not on like a friend. It's not on I really want to get to know you. It's because I like you and I want to do things with you, or I see you and I want to be with you and eventually do things with you. It's never coming genuine. So already from jump, you're looking at someone like Prey. I just want you.
Because the talking stage is based on looks.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
Okay.
You just said it.
We can go there with it.
Just said
We
it.
can go there.
That's
I
all
mean,
it
not
is.
all the time.
Come on.
And
It's
so, wait, hold on. I'm not saying that's not true. That is true. It can be based off looks. Okay, I see you look good. I won't talk to her. But then they're talking that's the process of out of friendship. After a while, you cool somebody, you got to know them. Like, you know what? Maybe there's something I might want to pursue. But I guess in her example, yo, she look good. Let me go talk to her or not. So yeah, I can agree.
Anybody can walk through those doors and I automatically know if I'm attracted to them or not.
Correct.
Then if I pursue them on a talking stage as, oh, we're just friends, in the back of my mind, I know you're attractive. I know that there can be a potential someday. So
But you're already preying on a person though.
not in that
She's
way.
not-
Praying. There's
Not
nobody.
praying.
There's
Praying.
nobody
look.
that you see that you're like, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm
No, I don't
attracted-
I don't
you're attracted to
approach.
them.
I don't approach.
But that attraction is just based
You
on
wait.
looks. During the talking stage, that's when you get to discover who they really are, because you're just gonna meet their representative for the first
Not
couple of.
representative.
The talking stage, you're gonna meet my person too during the talking
So you're
stage.
gonna meet the best parts of them, but you need that time in to really start learning about the dark
To
parts
see
of
if you wanna
them.
even court them.
To see if
You
really want to take
you
things
may
further.
not get there. You may not get that during the talking stage.
So how long does
You
the
may
talking?
not, but
You may not
can
get there during the
catch a
talking
few.
stage.
How
You
long
can
does the
catch a few.
talking stage usually last?
See, it depends
Like,
on
how-
the. It
what's the-
depends
what's
on
the
the two
limit?
people.
What's the max?
There's no set amount of time because it depends on the two people and thing.
Good question.
Some people
Do they?
think the talking it could be 3 months for a couple. It could be 7 months for
3
another.
months.
A lot of not in this day and age,
3
people
months.
drag it to a whole year.
Am I taking you to Ruth Chris?
A
Am I paying for
year.
dinner?
There's
Okay,
no.
During the
I'm
stage
sorry.
too?
If you're talking to me for a year, you're wasting my time and you don't know what you want as a
But
man.
that's true. But
I'm
in
not-
this day and
I'm not
age,
with that.
a lot of people that's how it is. People
Yo, Manera,
people
wait a
are
minute,
so
hold on.
afraid of commitment.
Wait a
They
minute.
drag it for that long.
Wait,
It's the same thing when people are
wait.
engaged for 8 years and people don't see anything wrong with that. That's a
Well,
problem
there is.
too. That's a problem.
But in
too.
this day and age, society normalizes stuff like that.
Someone in the comments said courting is with intention. So if we're courting pursuing marriage.
Marriage,
we're courting,
yeah.
pursuing to build a family.
Yes,
together.
because and that was probably decided. That was made clear before we began to court.
After the talking stage,
After the talking stage.
after dating.
Sure, yeah. You want to say that? Yeah, after dating.
So after I got to know you,
after I got to know you, yes.
but you just said if I'm talking for a year or something, I'm wasting your time.
But that's why I disagree. Because you cannot, it sounds ridiculous, but you cannot really put a time frame on how long I could talk. Because maybe I don't know all I need to know in a year. You don't know how that year went.
You never
That
know-
year I
you
could have
never
been
gonna know
in
somebody fully.
school.
You
I
could
could have
be
been
married and still
I could have
not
been
know
going on a lot going on that year.
Married and still not know someone fully.
No, yeah, that's the thing. So I cannot necessarily say if you're wasting my time. No, I mean, granted, there are people who actually do that. They drag their feet, but that's not like a complete case where every case is like that.
So
I
wait,
feel like, I'm sorry. I feel like, and what you mean, like you, in a sense, you can't be wasting their time because I feel like when people drag it for that long, they have a sense of like lack of commitment, like they're afraid to. And some people have a good amount of like, lack of self-respect. They'll allow themselves to, stay into that stage. Because like normally, if you're in the talking stage, the man is the one that's, normally he makes it official. And a lot of females, they're so infatuated with him. They're so into him. They allow themselves to stay in this talking stage for that long until they realize I've been wasting my time. So it's like, that's why where I agree. Like you can't be wasting somebody's time if a talking stage lasts a year.
I think if it's done healthy, the talking stage will naturally flow into a dating stage
I agree.
without titles or without a conversation even needing to be had. Because if we're talking for 3 months or whatever it is, clearly I've seen you in person. We've hung out. In my eyes, that could be perceived as dating. That could be perceived as us going out on dates. Now we're at a point where we're like, okay, I like being around you. This is more than just us texting back and forth and talking about What did you do today? What did you do today?
So-
like,
Wait, are y'all, for the fellas, are y'all spending money during the talking stage? Like you guys are taking us out on dates, right?
Applebee's,
Because
2
we're
for
talking
20,
and you
maybe.
like me, you like the way I look. So are you spending money on
2
me?
for 20, maybe.
But that's
you're
the
not
thing.
getting Peter Luger or Ruth Chris on that time.
It
It don't work
seems
like
like
that.
women want to be made the priority sometimes because it seems like, oh, you're wasting my time is precious, things like that. But it's up to fellas to get their life in order before they could pay for dates and things of that nature. There's certain things a guy has to do, and not every guy's gonna get those things on the to-do list done in a month.
So why pursue me
do that before you start
at that
talking,
point?
right?
If you're
Why
not even sure if you
why?
can provide for me, why pursue me?
Oh, that is kind of selfish.
If
How
no,
is that
Can I tell you what's
selfish?
selfish?
You just-
Because he
How
knows
said that, though?
he
You
knows
pretty
what he wants.
no.
Hold on, no. He
is
knows
what?
what.
Which
No,
is
no,
what?
no, no. What it is? He knows about. Oh, you know what you want. He knows what he wants. I'm going to make that first step to show you. Okay, there's an interest there. However, before I go full speed ahead, there's certain things on my side I'd like to clear up, fix first, just so I can show you that I can be that person for you.
No.
And
It
now
it sounds like they want someone pre-prepared. So you want me to pursue you with no job?
That's not what
No,
she's saying.
that's not-
Stay 6 feet.
If I can speak for you.
What was that?
Stay 6 feet away.
Great.
I don't think that that's what she's saying. I think that she's saying if you're going to come up to me with intentions of in the future you're going to court me or in the future you're going to date me, then don't come with the intentions of, well, you know, I just want you in my space for a year to see if I'd like to take you to McDonald's for the first time.
I'm not saying that you have to have it all together. That's not what I'm saying. Based off of what you said, it sounded like, okay, I'm not going to make it official until I feel like I'm prepared to fully provide for you. That's what I got from what you just said.
But why am I
Yes,
providing?
That's what I'm saying.
Never-
But okay, so let's say I was the person meant for you, but I'm not ready for you now. Just leave you alone. That's what you prefer.
Yes.
I'm not ready, just
Stay
leave you
6
alone.
feet away.
Jamie said, "What are y'all talking about for a year?" Like honestly, like what do we like? How many times do I have to tell you the same thing after a year for you to know if you like me or not? To the level where you could see something like you see potential in somebody the moment you have a one conversation with them.
Yeah, I see
You know-
potential.
you
Potential.
know,
Potential.
even on the playground when we were
Potential may
kids,
not become
I could be friends with this person.
the actual reality. Actually,
Say that
potential,
again?
it may actually become the actual reality. Yeah, actually potential, but you may actually become that
Exactly. All it takes is one wrong turn.
that have
But
potential.
that's where
So
prayer comes into play. You praying about the situation. The moment you decide that I'm physically attracted to them, I see something, but I don't know this person like that. Let me pray on it. Anybody who's in your space, whether it's a friendship, a platonic relationship, a coworker, you should be praying on that relationship because people are very spiteful. So if this is somebody who you think, okay, they're good enough to be talking to, why are we not pursuing everybody on the level of, okay, well, let me pray and see if you should even be talking to me at that point.
I have a question. So, Gershom, you're the married man at the table, right? So when you first met your wife, how long did it take to know that she was your wife?
Good question.
how long did it take for me to know that she was my wife? Well, thing is with her, we were good friends for about like 5 years.
Did you find her physically attractive when you first met her?
I mean, she was. There's no doubt about
Okay.
that. She was. But thing is, our friendship wasn't based on that. Because when we first met, after we got cool at the time, I'm like, okay, I didn't really expect much to go about it. So we were legit, genuine friends.
But can you agree that in the situation, because you guys were friends and your intention wasn't there to go jumping into marriage, that you truly got to know her on a different level than versus you went and praying to like, oh, I want her? Like, do you feel like the situation would have been different?
It took, like I said, we were friends for a few years. Once I saw that, okay, that there was interest there and the interest was mutual, there are certain things on my end that I kind of had to fix. I admit that. My end that I kind of had to fix. At the same time, while I was doing that, I was going to God, if this is the one, show me. Once what I dealt with, once that was done, I had to pass one last test. Once I passed it, I literally got my answer in 2 weeks.
And it sounds like she wasn't the one for you early on, once you laid eyes on her, right? It took 5
That's
years
true.
to
It
getting
took
to know
time.
her.
But thing is, like I said, our friendship grew. We had a genuine friendship. And I believe that's the mistake that tends to happen. People are jumping into these situations and you're not even friends first.
because that initial attraction.
The
So,
initial attraction, correct?
I have a question then,
Mm.
because you have a beautiful testimony with your relationship. Now, what advice would you give for the young woman who may be doing what she needs to do? She's minding her business, drinking her water, reading her Bible. She may be
Working
friends
on
with
her
a young
edges.
gentleman, right? In this situation, as you can see, it took time for you to, be married with your wife. What happens in that phase when she's frustrated? Because most times the woman has to wait for the man to get things together. And then we have to wait, right? We're praying,
Mhm.
we're fasting. We may see that it's there and we're waiting for you. Now, what advice do you give to that woman who's waiting? Because
Wait
in the
on the
end-
Lord. No, I'm sorry.
In the end, you got, it's a beautiful marriage, but no one talks about that journey when you get there, the waiting, the frustration, the annoyance, you being right next to the
Are
person.
you talking about, okay, now this is kind of layered. Now, does she have a prospect?
What does
Yes.
that mean?
Does she have somebody who she's attracted
Well,
to?
look, I don't want to make it seem like this is me now.
I did
This
not
is
say
in
you.
general.
God.
That's the other thing.
Now, I had to clear that up for the audience.
You, ma'am. I'm
I felt like it was
asking.
like towards
No,
me.
I'm asking a hypothetical question, because that question is not vague across the board. There are situations, so there are layers. If there's somebody who's there who's a prospect, and for a long time it seems to be this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth going on, you need to take a step back, pray to God, say, God, am I wasting my time? Please understand, God has no problem telling you that you are wasting your time. Move on. God does not like anyone wasting their time in a situation. The problem is people can get so emotionally attached. Even when God answers that question, you still hang on.
True.
There's that. Now, that is if there's a prospect. Now, if there isn't, so now if you're saying now, if there isn't a prospect, what do they do if they're frustrated? Or honestly, you should have asked a married woman. She probably better answer that question, because I don't know. As a guy, because different for us. For guys, it's different. It's different for guys. Our thing is different. Being that we're the hunters, we got to make sure that we're on point before we go out and pursue someone. A female can tell you what
I
it's
don't like hunters.
That's
I
fine.
know that y'all got the upper hand on that part of being
Upper
a hunter.
hand?
Let me.
Where?
But that's why
No, they
they're
low-key got a
irritated.
lot of
Y'all
pressure.
know
Y'all have the upper
waiting.
hand
They
in
lack
the sense
patience.
that we have to somewhat.
Where
for lack of better words,
I might get rejected when I approach you.
I think
That's
there's
the
pros
upper
and
hand.
cons to that.
No,
There's
because
pros
you're
and
talking
cons.
about-
No.
He said that we want to be the priority all the time, but I'm like, okay, so you want me to just wait around for you for a year? We're talking for a year, and then what?
No, but you gotta have patience.
I didn't say
We can
wait
have
around.
patience, but let's stop trying to hurt each other, because
What did
at
you
the end
say?
of the day,
I said you gotta have patience. You gotta have
But
patience.
low key,
Wait on the
is a guy really, when they're talking to a female, are they only talking to that female?
That
That's
must
the
be
real question.
That must be made clear.
That's the real
I
question.
said
because
that.
some of them be acting
That
funny
must
and
be
be
made
gibbling and
clear.
dazzling
okay,
in
but
different
if
spots.
we're in a talking stage and I come up to you like, well, you talking to somebody else, you're gonna think I'm crazy. You're gonna be like, okay, well, now you're trying to have
It's not
titles.
exclusive. That's
well,
right.
well, your
It's gonna
approach,
be that-
your approach matters, obviously.
the approach
Nah,
matters,
bro.
of course, but regardless of how I come at you with the conversation, it's gonna seem like I want more than I should already have, in the sense of us just kind of getting to know each other.
But if you feel in your heart that you should have that conversation, be honest with the person. Am I the only person you're talking to? The guy will tell you.
That's
if
gonna
he's-
light a fire
if he's
under him,
mature
honestly.
enough, which is something you're looking for, right? If he is, honestly, no, you might not be the only one, or yes, you're the only one I'm looking at, and then that tells you how you can move forward. Because
I agree.
if marriage, kids, and all this is a goal of yours, give it the same attention and care that you give other things that are priorities in your life. Seeking a job, you're just not gonna wait around for the job to come to you. You're gonna be proactive. So you gotta be proactive in all areas of your life that you seek.
See, it's funny that we're speaking about, this topic of, men having the upper hand and women, being impatient, because it lies into, this video that's been going on for a very long time. I don't know if y'all know about that Steve Harvey video.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Going rampant, saying how, men can be friends with. Matter of fact, before I can go into it, let's just play the video.
Okay.
That would be a better explanation.
Where did this come from?
I mean,
Because-
it's a blessing, true enough, but really, it was just me sitting down being honest. All of my friends are men. I don't have female friends. I don't. I'm incapable of that.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, because come on.
Because you have a wife.
Well, I have a wife, and I don't really have female friends because look. Okay, let's get rid of this myth right here. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. Let's get rid of this right here. You're an attractive woman. There are some guys somewhere saying, "Yeah, we're friends." No, that's not true. He's your friend only because you have made it absolutely clear that nothing else is happening except this friendship we have. We remain your friends in hopes that one day there'll be a crack in the door, a chink in the armor. And trust and believe that guy that you think is just your buddy, he will slide in that crack the moment he gets the opportunity.
And you
Because
think
we're
most
guys.
men think this way?
99.9% of us think that way. And you tell this to a woman and it just blows her back. No, I have male friends. You have male friends because they know it can be nothing else right now. I tell you what, all your male friends, just ask them in a friendly way. If I wanted to date you, would you be okay with that? And watch the fireworks. Watch. I'm telling you.
All right, so as y'all can see, this is a very controversial video because there's it's not even two sides to this. There's a lot of gray areas within this because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of what he said is very true, but also in some cases, a lot of what he said is untrue. Me personally, I feel like it's possible for a guy to be friends with a female without having
He
intentions.
did say he's not capable. So he
See,
knows
That's
his-
the
But
thing.
that's him. He
I
knows his
respect it.
limits.
He
His
said,
boundaries.
I respect that because he's honest, and that's kind of what it is. I think, and not to cut you off, but in this situation, it's really based on the guy being honest with himself. Can you handle being strictly platonic with a female?
Because I feel like with Steve, he has a lust issue based on how he was speaking. And like he said, he knows his boundaries. He's being honest because God forbid he encounters a female and he doesn't, have a control against that. He could wind up and cheat on his wife. And that's because he has an issue. And the way he sees fit to conquer that, he's going to eliminate the option of being platonic with any other female because he personally feels like he's incapable. But where he says a lot of men, like 99% of men, are the same way, I disagree because everybody's different. Granted, I'm not gonna lie, in this day and age, I've seen a lot of guys that at first they don't, when they see there's nothing going on with the female, once there's an opportunity, they like to try slide in a few little flirts. They try to test the waters, and when they crack that door open, they go right in it, then they catch them like that. And I feel like it's a matter of who you are and how the friendship is. Because if the female has set boundaries of what y'all can and cannot do, then you just have to respect that and can't go in. If she has set the boundaries, it's not gonna happen like that. You can't just try to break cracks into it. Even if she does give in, that's not right. But in this day and age, a lot of men are like that. And it's sad because a lot of females, they really value, a platonic relationship with a guy. Because I feel like a male and a female strictly being friends is one of the most beautiful things ever because it's like a brother-sister dynamic.
See different perspectives.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy, having female friends. Back in high school, I had more female friends than guy friends, and I didn't have any intentions with any of them. I thought they were all beautiful, of course, but I never thought, I'm about to go in right there, because I had a type of, connection with them where I see them as precious to me.
But
And
you're a gentleman. There's not a lot of you out there anymore right now. So it's kind of tough to think of it like that.
it is, but even though I'm a gentleman, there'll be times I'm not gonna lie, there's been, to what he said, for most guys, there'll been times I see a female, that looks good, and I'll, go to her, talk to her, try to see, what's going on. But it's not like that for every female. It depends on who you find attractive and who you really see fit to go like that. See me, if I'm trying to, pursue female and she just makes it clear, dub, we're friends, that's it for me. I'm giving up. But I feel like if she's the one that, tries to try something, if she makes a move, that's something completely different.
What are some of the boundaries that you guys have set in marital life?
That's okay. So everyone's case is different. The main boundary is if my wife isn't comfortable with a certain person, then that's clipped.
Right.
I'm not gonna try and push back. I'm not gonna try and make her no. Listen, she
What
got
if
no.
it was like friendships before you guys were married,
yeah.
though?
Regardless.
Oh.
Here's why. Because I have to trust that she's not. Hold on. I have to trust that she's not coming. Because my wife is a very discerning person. She's not just gonna sit and just ask her of her emotions. She has never been like that. There's a woman you're like that. Oh, nah, ain't no females. I'm the only friend. Okay, great. But I have to trust that if she has discomfort, it's coming from somewhere that she sees something that I don't.
Even if she doesn't explain to you why you shouldn't be friends with them.
9 out of 10 she actually will explain, but even if she doesn't explain, I have to trust that because that has happened. There's been cases where she has said something, and then I've noticed what she said. I'm like, oh, okay, you were right, and she had to explain it to me. But I just noticed based off what she said. Now, the problem, not the problem, the thing with Steve Harvey's his take on this, and I notice a lot of women actually do agree with this take. So now what that does is this now confirms the notion that women are only placed on earth for the sake of men's pleasure.
Some of them think that way.
That's basically what he confirms. Because if you're
Low-key,
saying
yeah.
that a man and woman can't be friends, you're basically saying, okay, so that means women were only put on earth for the sake of being with a man and just for the sake of sexual pleasure. And this is not even a biblical concept. The Bible doesn't even forbid this. I get it. You want to, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you cannot handle it, like there's certain females, if you know what, it would not be a good idea if I'm ever alone with this person. Be honest with yourself. Do what you gotta do to protect yourself, protect your marriage, be honest with yourself. At the same time, you're not an animal. It's not like there's no way that it's just an impossibility that someone who's a female. So now, of course, I've seen various rules. Okay, if you're gonna be friends with this person normally, okay, it's because my wife was cool with them already, or the friendship is a marriage friendship. You be cool with somebody who's married already.
Like you're married, they're married.
They're married. It works differently from everybody. That's based on how you and your spouse, you sit down and you talk and you discuss, okay, here's what I'm okay with, here's what I'm not, here's what I'm not okay with. It all depends on you speaking with your spouse. It will always boil down to you having conversation with your spouse and you being honest with yourself.
Do you feel like if your spouse tries to say that they're not comfortable around this person, do you feel like there's any scenario where like that the spouse is bugging, like they're how
You should fight for the friendship.
yeah, like you feel like there's a case where like she's wrong and you should fight for the friendship?
It kind of that does depend. You would need to kind of gauge, okay, well, why are you uncomfortable? Did something happen? Did she do something? Did she say something? What is the issue?
Can I discuss it with her? Like, can it be worked out?
Yeah, can it be worked out? I'm just uncomfortable, then you obviously cannot leave the conversation there. You can't just drop it. Okay, no, what to find to do with it. No, that you have to come to a conclusion with that. Even if not that day, maybe the next day, maybe the following week, there must be a conclusion reached with that scenario. Because the last thing you want to do, put yourself in a position where your spouse stated, I am not comfortable, and you went against that. Just for the sake of, no, I made my friendship, I knew before you. No, once you got married, your spouse is now number one.
And that goes back to like the talking, dating stage while you're getting to know your spouse. You want to make sure your spouse is someone who likes to talk over challenges that might come up and things of that nature. You don't want a spouse that is my way or the highway.
Correct.
Like,
How is it? What's your opinion on like a single male's perspective on that aspect? Like,
with a female friend?
yeah, with female friends.
Similar to what he said, you want the extra perspective. You have to determine the purpose of the friendship. What is it? What's the purpose? Is one person secretly in love with the other person and the purpose to eventually get that person? Or is the purpose is like, we met in college, we got each other through college to get to that degree, and now you're in this field and I'm in this field. When you want more information on this field, you could talk to me. I'm someone you could reference. When you want more information on my field, I'm someone you could talk to. It depends on the purpose of relationship because, like he said, even in the community level, like if you want to borrow something, you need community.
Correct. Somebody wrote a comment, which is I find very interesting. I just go through them. Platonic friendships are still possible in this generation. Some people just can't handle it. Gab G said boundaries. Sardine said I agree both ways, but it depends on the individual and yes, boundaries. Dominique said I'll see you married. You're married to your spouse forever. So which relationship are you trying to save? Which is very important. I might sound old, but I blame the media. There's always a romantic subplot with characters. If you see it enough, you'll expect it, which is another important thing. Yes, media, movies, TV, the two people, whatever, but then now one of them is secretly like Arnold and Helga, one of them secretly loves each other, all that kind of thing. So now that programmed in your mind, where you see two people who are like friends, whatever, no, there must be something more. There has to be something there. It can never just be platonic on both sides. One person always has to be the one to want something from the other individual.
That's the thing. It pushes persistence. Like if you fight enough for something, it's gonna happen, no matter about reality. But similar to what he said earlier, if a girl gives him the message that no, you're friend zone, that's it. You, if you're mature enough, you know this is not the person for me because you want someone that wants you back. And the same way a woman could friend zone a male could friend zone a woman. Like there is absolutely no way you're gonna be the mother of my kids.
I think
so. If you hear that and you still going after it.
I was also gonna add too, I think the best thing, especially for if you're like single and you're young, in terms of relationships with the opposite sex, I think you need to learn how to be your friend first. Often, I know, especially in this generation, to the point of media, often people don't even know how to be their own friend first, and they try to find that solace, and you become vulnerable to the opposite sex because perhaps there was a missing link. Maybe I didn't have a father in my life, or I don't have anyone to show me affection, or I haven't had anyone tell me that I'm beautiful. And I have a friend that says, hey, you look good today. And you're constantly saying that, then you kind of fall into a trap like, wow, this person they really love me. Like, I think this could be it. And you just become vulnerable to that. But I think you need to be your friend first, like before you even get into that. Because if you're not mature, whether you're like, if someone is secretly in love with you or not, like to me, my motto is, even if I could see like the signs that someone likes me, this may be a bit dangerous. If you don't physically say anything to me, I'm just gonna pretend like that doesn't concern me. Because whatever you're fighting with, that's between you and God. And I just feel like as friends, once you set that boundaries and when people go over that boundary, it's like, it's clipped. Like, I don't think we can be friends until you get to a mature place where I feel like we can actually do this platonically. And it kind of hurts sometimes, but you got to let people go when they start doing too much.
What if the scenario is that you're not married? This is someone that you're just dating,
dating,
whatever.
Let's clarify.
You guys are not married. Y'all are not married, but y'all are somewhat exclusive to each other. Like, y'all not
No, are you my
else.
boyfriend?
Yes, y'all are boyfriend, girlfriend. Titles are involved, whatever. But there is like you met him through this female friend that you now feel like is kind of pushing up on your man. Like, what is the
conversation? Hey,
if he doesn't see it, like he's like, nah, like you're really bugging.
Hey, I noticed that she's a little bit on you. Let's talk about that. Have a conversation. But you also, I feel like sometimes as women, we could be really like aggressive. So you really have to come to it, like Gershom said, with like, don't come out of a state of jealousy. Like, okay, you need to back up. But like, I think you should just, be more reserved.
If you're invested in this relationship and you feel like he's just not getting it, like he's really not seeing it,
well then maybe
make sure you have solid evidence.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to come in with
make
evidence.
sure you have evidence.
Solid
evidence.
Sometimes we just
it'd be an
see
inkling,
and we really got that feeling. Like,
intuition.
It's not gas. Like we feel it, and we know what we're talking about. But you just don't see it because you're so blinded. You're like, nah, she's just friendly. Like, then what? Because I've invested now whatever the amount of time that I have in this relationship.
Even with the investment, like if God is not showing like that's what it's supposed to be, like it doesn't matter how much you invested, like it's done. It's done. I'm sorry. Like it's done. And you just have grace at that point. And you gotta be okay with that. It just depends on the type of person that you get. If you're telling me that I'm with somebody, a partner, and you can't obviously see that someone's pushing up on you, and I'm telling you that and you're not believing me, where's the future going? You're hard-headed.
So I feel like for men, y'all are a little blinded to things sometimes. So it's not even about.
Let's put some positive energy though. There are some good men out there. Amen. We have.
No, I feel like
let's give it up for the man of God
Hold
and
on,
They don't
Bethany.
see it
Hold on.
first.
If we don't see it, we
Not
can't.
trying to give a shout out.
We can't call what we don't see. If I don't see it, then I'm not gonna say.
See,
That's what I said earlier. If I don't see it, how can I be thankful for what I don't
I feel
see?
like for men, I feel like why they can be very clueless to stuff like that because in some cases because
Thank you
they're so
for speaking some
infatuated.
truth.
Because
You know
I
what
feel
I'm talking about.
I feel like it's because they're so infatuated with like who they're with. When other females try to they don't pay that no mind. Like it doesn't click in their head. Oh, she's trying to pursue me because they're focused on that one girl. So sometimes they could be at fault. Not all the time. Sometimes they just want to play dumb, so they don't have to cut that female off.
You
But
can.
sometimes, like
Everyone
they
wants
truly
smoke.
don't see it because they're that focused on the film. But on the other hand, they just don't want to get involved. Like they don't want to dress it like they see it, but they're gonna play them and be like, oh, now like she
I
just
feel
being
like guys
friendly.
really just want to just be the good guy all the time. Like y'all don't want to have to break some other girl's heart who just preying on y'all too. Like just tell her to back down. Like it's not that hard.
No, you could tell her that if we know that's what she's actually doing. What if that's not the
Exactly.
case?
But I'm telling you that I'm uncomfortable with her.
You
rubbing
could
your
be
shoulder
wrong.
and
But
being
you
too
could
comfortable.
be wrong
Be
though.
wrong.
But I'm not. If she's too comfortable and I'm uncomfortable,
But you're not. All right. Yeah.
We got a problem, and you should nip that
See,
in the bud.
that's why you need valid evidence to show him.
She
Because
touched-
if a guy is
she-
very,
she touched your shoulder a little too aggressive.
I need an example for
So-
me.
so
Like,
that-
how?
I'm not even saying.
So with the solid evidence, I think sometimes you honestly just need an honest conversation because it's like you're thinking these thoughts. The man is clueless. The girl is like, that's just my friend. We just friendly from wherever we're from. Everyone has a different perspective. But if you get everybody together, like you tell her, why are you touching him? She'll get the message wide and clear. Oh, I always touch people like that.
And then that's the other thing. The girl, it's this friendship thing where it's like, no, she's just like that with everybody's man. Like,
But
When you say it
are
like
you then
that,
gonna cut her off? Like, when?
Jennifer,
When does
what
it
Lifetime movies have you been watching?
oh my
happen?
God,
I think the cutoff point is
Dang.
clear when the guy decides
watching Child
who
Perry
he wants to
stuff.
spend the rest of his life with. Is that when it's completely clear?
I'm trying to figure out at what point do you feel like you need to separate yourself from this person? Because if she's comfortable like that with everybody, then you need to separate yourself from that group of people who she's always around. I feel like
for sure.
But I think some people really feel like their connection is just too deep. Like we've been friends for this amount of years, and it's always been like this. So now I'm so comfortable that removing myself from this group of friends because one person don't know how to act is like a crazy thing.
I think nothing's too deep because all it takes is one really serious mistake and the friendship could die.
So we talk about the females saying, oh, I don't like it. What about the guy size? What if like the boyfriend is like, yo, I don't want you hanging out with this dude? Because I feel like it's very different because because I've actually experienced like for me like getting cut off because the boyfriend because like
I think it's different for guys.
Oh,
I think,
they be
I think
jealous.
girls will tell you to cut somebody off because we know something's going on. Where guys will be like, nah, I just don't want you to have no guy friends, period. Like
That's
I
kind of
don't care if you
biased.
gay,
That no. How come y'all have
It is
reason we don't?
true.
y'all don't got no
So y'all
inklings.
have reason we
Y'all
don't.
don't got no inklings. Y'all just don't want us to be friends at all
Wow.
with males.
Wow.
Jennifer,
All
that's
women should
not
just trust their
true.
guys.
That's great.
All women are always correct.
That's not what I said. You're not listening. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Jennifer. Nah, I don't agree with that.
so you feel like
So
for
you-
the guys,
so
it's
when,
just a
so when
sense
guys
of-
do it, we're just jealous. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
When
that's
y'all do
what-
it, you guys are always right.
So you
guys
feel
are
like
right,
for the guys,
basically.
it's just a sense of insecurity on their side, but the woman, oh, it's just a gut feeling. Like that's how you feel.
Well, let's go to this comment because Jamie said this because it says, I will say that remember that there are things that you have to work through in a relationship, and it may be how hard-headed the person is. So that is true. Sometimes it takes more than one scenario for people to understand. So in the example that you gave, Jennifer, with maybe someone touching the shoulder and the
But
guy
how
not
far
really,
does it need to get?
Some people are
Cheating?
different.
That's how far it can get.
I'll give you a specific scenario.
Please.
Right?
Yeah.
I know a group of friends who are all in relationships and went on vacation together.
Lit.
And on a regular, wear a bathing suit that's a two-piece, little something showing would be appropriate around your man is now not appropriate around the other couple's mans, but we're all in relationships type of thing. Like at what point, now I know one of the males were like, nah, I don't want you wearing that. around these people. But we're all friends. We're all comfortable. You know nothing's going on, but it's because he's another male. Now it's a problem. Like now, because there's other males around. Because there's strangers that are around that are males when I can wear it around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm talking about as far as like, the man is going to tell you not to do it.
So he does not want his girl to wear a revealing two-piece because he doesn't want.
Sounds like
he doesn't-
protection to me.
He doesn't want the male friends
Right.
who sees her on a regular basis to see her
Your
in,
friend.
in that light.
Your friend.
It's because he knows how some men think.
Men
He
can
grew
think.
up around savages.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's flip it. Let's flip it. So you let your man wear gray sweats in front of your homegirls?
You're
Not
not,
the
you're
gray
not
sweats.
owning gray sweats
Okay,
anymore.
great.
Like,
Oh.
that's it.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
thought so.
jeans. We together, throw them gray sweats out.
Thought so.
You can wear them around the house.
No, I think
Thought so,
I think that
exactly.
percent. No, you can go, Lise.
Wait, so like for real? So like, if he's wearing gray sweats,
You can't wear gray sweats around your
It-
homegirls, but her wearing a
personally not
two-piece.
insecure in that way, so it wouldn't be a problem. But I do believe that there are females who would be like, no gray sweats. Like,
that's true. But do you feel like that's a sense of like insecurity? Because it's literally great. It's not like the whole thing is.
That's not no insecurity. That's like you exposing yourself. Because it's just
It's
like
the same
nowadays,
thing as the guy.
No, same
It's the
thing with the
same
bathing
thing.
suit. Because nowadays
a
there's
little
thong
offensive.
bikinis. There's thong bikinis. There's different type of bikinis. So she probably went those type of bikinis being rowdy like
I think
that.
to say, oh, you can't wear gray sweats around my friends is a little offensive to the friends because you should be able to trust your friends that they're not
No,
looking at your man like,
Jennifer.
no.
There's a time and a place.
biased,
but that's
bro. You are biased,
Jennifer, you
man.
OD'd.
I'm not
The
saying-
biased general, bro. Like, general.
I just feel like, in my opinion, like when it comes to like the two piece, me personally, if like my shorty, if she's wearing a bikini, and like she was around my guy friends, yes. I know some people like there's some savages, but me knowing she's only for me and for me only, I'm not really gonna care. Like literally, I'm the type of guy. She's gonna be my walking trophy. I'm gonna want her to wear that two piece because so people can see that's mine.
Shaking your
If
head,
a
but
guy
that's
wants,
what I just said about
if
the
a random
gray
guy
sweats.
wants to hit on her, I'll be like, oh really? She look good, right? I know because that's mine for me. I just
and you got
because
yours.
I feel like once you tell her what to wear, that's a sense of control issues
you.
that can
Thank
go into
you.
something more.
Thank you.
Feel me? See, if you're going to like some restaurant and she's wearing like underwear, then that you're gonna be like, baby,
Then we can
no,
talk about it, right.
stop that. But if she's wearing a bikini at the beach, if she's at the beach wearing a bikini,
It's appropriate.
it's appropriate.
but that goes back to the talking and dating stage. You gotta make sure
It's a conversation.
You gotta see how your potential spouse takes your
stage.
advice.
I'm not telling you what kind of bikinis I wear in the talking stage.
No, but you're gonna gauge. You're
Are
gonna
you gonna have a
gauge.
date at the beach? You want to be taken out on different dates, right?
Okay,
so
when
is
we're
one of the dates
dating
a beach?
though, when we're dating,
Why
we
is
talk
the
about
first
talking-
thing you're gonna take me on is when I'm half naked? I don't like that.
What?
When I'm half naked,
What?
that's
That's
the
a
first thing
good
you're gonna
question.
take me?
Is it
Help me.
appropriate to take someone out on a date to the beach on the first
First date? That's
First
what?
date. No one said
That's
that.
appropriate.
No one
Is it
even
appropriate?
alluded to that. What?
That's pretty specific.
So
I
you-
don't.
What's interesting what you said, Jen.
What?
I feel like the man who mentioned that he didn't want his girl to walk around in the bikini. I felt like, to me, that sounds like a high value man. And
Here we go.
to close it out, I really feel like since we're all here now, I really want to revisit that conversation and talking about
A
what
high
that
value
looks like
person.
Wait, you're on top
in
of
the
it?
high
That's
value.
it?
I mean, if we got a little time, just to throw that in there.
You notice that they
Oh,
only
might as well.
discuss
Go ahead.
high valued men, not how valued women.
He does
I
talk
didn't-
about
I
high
didn't really-
women.
He
though.
did talk about her now.
He does talk
No,
about
not
high
them
women.
when they had their conversation here. I didn't hear
Oh.
them talk about high valued women.
Because that wasn't the topic.
Mhm.
That wasn't the topic that we were given.
Let's throw that in.
So what
I
do you
mean, so
guys?
let's talk
What,
about it
what
then.
I want to hear from the guys. When you looking at a woman, like what would you consider? Like what makes you think like, yeah, that's a high value woman?
Or what?
Depends
What?
on your.
What type of woman exudes feminine energy? Like, what is defined as feminine energy to you, or masculine energy? Just want to clarify on that.
I think a high value woman depends on who you're interested in. High value might be different for different.
For different
It
people.
depends on what you value.
What's your definition?
So me, I'm someone who values certain characteristics.
Like
Honesty,
let us know.
transparency, things of that nature, like kindness, things I would want to see in a potential spouse as well as a potential role model for future kids. Those are the things that are high value to me. Someone that has time to spend, because you could be high value because a lot of people like to attach value to money. But if you have a whole bunch of money, you might not have a whole lot of time. And we already know what happens with people that raise their kids with money. They have nannies and things like that. Do you really want a nanny raising your children? Because the nanny's not gonna give your child the same pieces of wisdom, values, Christian principles, and things like that.
The nurturing is supposed to come from the mother. That's where the nurturing comes from, not from the nanny, because the DNA comes from the mother. So that nurturing comes from the mother.
Does physical aspects go into what makes a high value woman?
Not really.
Not really. Doesn't mean no.
I feel like
That's physical aspects don't matter to y'all when it comes to
as for a high value woman,
high value. Or,
like I said, value
there's a
depends on the person.
high
You gotta
value
be
is not about
attracted to the person
attraction,
and
though.
everything.
You're talking about attraction.
Right.
High value is
seems like everyone has their own definition.
high value is not based on attraction. These are my physical aspect. Physical aspect deals with attraction, what you see. That's not about.
I feel like it's
But
about the
low-key,
attributes.
that's one of the things
But
that
that's
Kevin
the-
Samuel brought up. He
It's-
brought up
it's
weight.
not-
He brought up.
Thank
He
you.
brought up what scale are you on from
No,
from
the
Beyonce
high
to
val-
Kelly Rowland.
No.
He was talking about all
It's
that.
about the
stuff.
high value man. No. I'm about the high value man being attracted to a woman, not about him how he looks himself. That's not really what it is. To me, high value to me is strictly security. How secure you are in yourself. Once someone is secure themselves, they know who they are. They secure themselves, they can conquer the world. That's really what it actually boils down to for me. The strongest women I know are generally very secure themselves. Certain moments you're not having your best day. Fine, I can understand that. But for the most part, they have security within themselves. That's to
I
me.
think it all plays a role because I don't want to be with someone who I'm not attracted to. That doesn't make me feel like you're high value to me because I value you. What makes me value you is the fact that I'm attracted to you, the fact that I'm attracted to you mentally too, the fact that I'm attracted to you spiritually.
I thought high value was more intrinsic. That's kind of why I didn't put the whole attraction thing, because I thought it was
Sure,
more
but then we can bring in
internal
health,
thing.
because some people are just unattractive because they're not healthy. So that could also be intrinsic as well.
I agree.
What is your thoughts, Debbie? What do you think is a high value man?
A high value man. I don't subscribe to that title, but
You don't want a high value man?
I want a godly man. That's what it is. Let's start with that. I want a man that is loyal, that I could trust, a man that is financially stable and is attractive. That's that, and I'm attracted to him at least. So that's how I view a high value man, if you want to define it that way. But yeah, that's my feeling.
I low-key feel like what is his name? Kevin Samuels?
Mm-hmm.
I think when he was discussing the high value man, he was speaking on a general sense, like the consensus of us. Like, not, I think high value depends on what you think it is. Like, I might not have the same attraction to the man that Deandra does, and she might think that man is high value, where I don't value the same things. You know what I'm saying? The same qualifications. So I think how high valued is a little.
And that's the thing. Each person is unique, but
Right.
the way he's talking about the masses on a general scale. If you survey 1 million people, most people agree they prefer someone who's financially stable, earns a lot of money, things of that nature. Because what is that? Resources for your family, resources for tutoring, piano lessons, and all these other things that you're thinking about for the future. You don't want to be struggling.
Do you guys think a stay-at-home mom is a high-value woman?
She
You guys
actually
talked
can
about-
be.
You guys talked about people who were also successful, and even or a stay-at-home dad. Like,
She can be. Staying at home mom is a lot of work.
Yes.
That's work. That's not nothing. That's work. Caring for a home, making sure the kids are fed, making sure the things are taken in the house. That's work. Running errands, going to the market. That's work. So definitely.
And not just that, she might not be bringing extra income to the house as far as monetarily, but since she's spending extra time with the children, that develops the child more.
Definitely.
Because you know how many children are going home and the TV is raising them because both parents are at work.
Yeah.
So she's super valuable because she's pouring all the wisdom, everything we talked about beforehand, into the child when someone else is working and providing for the family.
Do you
she's
feel
definitely high
like
value.
do you feel like that makes her more feminine, her being a stay-at-home mom, as
What is
opposed to
feminine?
somebody? Yep, I'm bringing it back. As opposed to somebody that's like just a working woman and possibly has a nanny or pays a nanny.
The feminine
Feminine,
thing,
yeah, I want to get into
that
it.
might.
Would it?
I
would
don't
she
want
be
to say.
considered
I don't
more
want to say
masculine?
it's subjective. I think the reason why the feminine thing even became a thing was because of this notion that the women tend to be very aggressive. So being that they're aggressive, aggression isn't necessarily to them
Masculine
like,
trait.
it's a masculine trait to be aggressive, to be very. Oh no, I could. So this come off. When normally think feminine, we think submission, able to submit, not trying to overtalk the man, not trying to overpower the man. That's what the whole femininity thing comes to man. You could be strong and feminine.
Exactly. I think both different women could be feminine because femininity is what, like kindness, sweetness, and things like that. Most times women have to be aggressive because you guys are getting catcalled in the street. Crazy things are happening. In New York City, you have to be able to bark on a dude for him to back down.
Sometimes
And that's high value. Of someone that's able to defend themselves, someone that enlists into like kickboxing classes, taking matters into her own hands because her safety is a priority.
Get a gun.
Sometimes it gets you bit.
Yeah, that's
As we see.
Yeah, just on the last video.
But she
yeah,
could
that
be
was-
aggressive because she want to protect herself. But when a potential spouse comes into the picture, I'm gonna need that guard to come down. I am not a threat.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing, especially living in New York City, a lot of females have their guard so up high because there's a lot of dirty, nasty men that's like, always trying to catcall them. So when a man of
They don't know how
God
to
is
turn it
actually
off.
sent to them, they could, they won't know to turn it off and they'll just assume that he's just trying to be nasty and they just shut him down.
I
And
could take that.
And that's the importance of college because it provides
Oh my
exposure.
God.
Thank you.
Exposure to different populations. You
Be-
might have a
Apply
stereotype.
for provost of John Jay, bro. Like you really do a great job. You're a great provost.
No, I'm just
honestly.
saying it definitely exposes you to different personality types. I'm just saying.
What do you?
I agree.
guys-
I agree with that.
What would you guys say starts to lower someone's value?
Disobedience.
Is she, if she comes with a child into the relationship, does that make her less high valued?
That is subjective. Everyone is different.
Yeah.
Some guys care about that. Other guys don't. I cannot answer that across the board, honestly. I can't.
Deandra, how do you feel? Like if a man
It's a
comes
good
into the
testimony.
relationship with a
You and me
child
testimony.
or
Here
children,
we go with this
You want this
again.
testimony.
or children, does
Right
that
now
make
in
him
my
less
life?
high valued?
Right now in my life, if
Right
a
now
man
in
was to
your
approach
life.
me with a child,
If
To
you
get me?
were stable in your career field and done with that, like, and you were
Making bread.
pursuing marriage on that level, like, would that make him less high value?
I don't want to diminish whatever situation like people have. Like everyone has a different testimony, so I don't know what coming into that. The only thing is the person is honest from the beginning, because sometimes I know some people like to hold that type of information and then it becomes like a secret. If you are open in the beginning, and that is something that God has given me the grace for, to be able to endure.
Grace needs to come.
I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna say never. Everyone's testimony is different.
Well, guys, I more than anybody want to talk about stuff like this for hours, but sadly, this must come to an end. It was amazing to have all you guys here having a.
I had fun with you guys.
I had fun too.
Mixtape.
I love the spiciness. We need to do more
Next
things.
time we
often
gotta
like
get more
this.
spicy.
Bottom
But
Chicago.
I like to thank everybody watching this hot seat. I'm glad. I hope that you were entertained and stay tuned. We'll be having more content coming for Friday night. And stay safe, y'all. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And stay blessed, y'all. Have a good evening.
Bottom Chicago, y'all. Bottom Chicago, y'all.